October 27th, 2016 was the day that everyone's favorite clueless gorilla Ash Ketchum took a big K straight to the mouthbox from his amorous admirer Serena, forever cementing her as a fan favorite among shippers and igniting fires of discussion that rage on to this day. Today, I want to dig into the truth, the lore, and the meaning of the kiss, so let's get right to it. Hey everyone, it's Charles. How are you today? I'm worshipping the idea that Ash and Serena will progress into a kissy-kissy baby-baby type of relationship later in life is one of the most popular romantic notions of the Pokémon anime. And for good reason, since the romantic subplot of Pokémon XY marked the first time that a character went hard on Ash for an entire 3 years of the anime, capping it all off with a smoocheroo to the mouth that shocked Ash, his mouth, his mouse, and his funny friends. This was a landmark moment in the anime around which a substantial body of interesting lore and speculation have emerged. So today I want to dispel the blatant misinformation out there and pull together all of the interesting lore, some interesting Easter eggs within the Pokémon XY anime, and the supplementary director's content together into one package for you to enjoy. And as always, it is going to be a fun time, so kindly give that like button a nice big wet smooch for the YouTube algorithm, then wipe it off if you dribbled on it, and let's jump right in. To quickly refresh your memory on the scene in which the kiss occurred, it happened in an airport in Kalos just before Serena hopped on a flight to Hoenn to embark on another quest of self-discovery and self-development. This was following the conclusion of a grand adventure across the region wherein Serena left home to seek out the boy who had rescued her in her childhood. The two met and traveled across the lands, supporting one another as Serena found her dream and put her everything into a big Pokemon contest run, while Ash battled all the way to the Kalos League finals where he just barely lost to a game-sharked Charizard, and wherein Serena had demonstrated unwavering loyalty, support, and romantic feelings for our blockheaded Pokemon lover. Evidence of Serena's feelings for Ash is a video and a half on its own, but it was the first time the anime had established a romantic subplot on this scale and so blatantly. And in those final moments together, fans were hot under the collar, wondering if it would actually amount to anything. And the payoff did not disappoint. As Ash and Serena bid each other farewell at the top of an escalator, she had some final words for the unaging man-boy of her desire. And this is a point at which the English dub kind of hamstrings the original lines, so you'll want to hear this bit. In the English dub, Serena says, "You're the kind of person I want to be. Next time we meet, you're going to like the kind of person I've grown into." This isn't a bad translation by any means, but it does narrow down the interpretation in a way that eliminates the ambiguity that makes the original line so special. In Japanese, Serena says, "Anata wa watashi no mokuhyou yo. Tsugi ni aou made ni motto motto miryoteki na jousei ni naru kara." Which is more like, "You are my target. By the next time we meet, I'll have become a much more attractive woman." Wink wink. On one hand, you could interpret mokuhyou as target in the sense that Ash is Serena's role model, her idol, her akogare no sonzai, the kind of person she looks up to and wants to become, as the English dub suggests. But the notion of mokuhyou in the sentence is much more ambiguous in Japanese, and we can grasp that Serena may be indirectly confessing her feelings to Ash by telling him that he is her target in more of a birds and the bees sense of the word. Regardless, what happens next transcends any language barrier. After saying goodbye, Serena steps onto the escalator, and about midway down, she suddenly tells Ash that there is one more thing, and with that, she runs back up the escalator, gets up on her tiptoes, and although we only see their feet, it is clear that she kisses him on the lips, before the escalator pulls her away from him and towards her next adventure. Ash is stunned, Bonnie, Pikachu, and Dedenne are really stunned, Clement craps his pants, and after Ash collects himself, it looks like he finally understands Serena's feelings for him. Maybe he is not the smartest shuppet in the shed after all. By the way, whatever anyone tells you on YouTube in the comments section, there's absolutely no uncensored version of the kiss in circulation, only fakes. However, the event of the kiss itself was quite clearly confirmed by the director, so let's quickly discuss what he had to say about the kiss before we dive into some of the other interesting lore and speculation. Mere hours before the Kiss episode aired on television, director Tetsuo Yajima was interviewed by the editor-in-chief of Anime Style, Yuichiro Oguro, in a god-level interview that delved deep into the creation of the XY anime. But let us zero in on what he had to say about Ash and Serena. According to Yajima, the idea for a romantic subplot originally came from producer Shukichi Kanda, who had the idea of depicting the story through a female lead's admiration for Ash. This led to the idea of having a flashback to Ash and Serena's childhood encounter in which the seeds of romance would be planted. As for the kiss itself, when asked if Serena's love for Ash would ever develop into anything, Yajima had this to say: "Not within the episode. I ended it in a way such that her love will hopefully be realized down the line. Serena told Ash that she would go improve herself and then return to him. And after that, she did something worthy of a revolution. In the midst of production, I added a scene intended to show them kissing. And as I wasn't allowed to show them kissing on screen, I showed Serena's feet floating to depict it instead." Just to set the record straight, Mr. Oguro then asks, "So depending on how you look at it, it appears that they might be kissing, right?" To which an unknown producer adds this: "No. It should absolutely look like they are kissing." Whether they were kissing or she was whispering something in his ear, the scene was meant to be ambiguous. Yajima is joking here and he reconfirms that the kiss actually happened momentarily, but I really do think that the ambiguity actually strengthens the scene in a way, simply because it has sparked so much discussion. Anyways, the discussion of the kiss and the intentions behind it continues. In terms of Pokemon, XY marked a big transition for the series. In XY, you guys had a scene wherein Serena was imagining she was on a date with Ash as they were walking on the street, blushing and all. The drama itself is intriguing, but did it make you think how her feelings would be taken to a conclusion? It was me who wrote the final episode, but I found myself putting my pen down whenever it came to their parting scene, because I was thinking, how can I end this in a way that is fair to her? Well, in the end, the scene itself was different from the screenplay. That's true. In the scene, she rode down the escalator for a while and then ran back up and kissed him. Of course, the escalator will take her down again, right? So while she's kissing him, she'll be pulled away from him. That's the kind of scene I wanted to create. First and foremost, kids are the primary target audience. So when it comes to the things we couldn't do, this series definitely pushed the boundaries. I was thinking if there was a way to depict the loneliness of forcibly being separated from someone. And that's when I settled on using the escalator. Not only does Yajima's reasoning for the escalator give the scene an extra twinge of sadness, but this snippet of the anime style interview erases any ambiguity around whether or not the kiss actually happened. So with that said, let's move on to set the record straight on the two symbolic Easter eggs in the episode that fans often connect to the kiss. The first Easter egg hasn't been confirmed or denied by the staff, but I think it is cheeky enough that it could be the real deal. Of course, I am talking about Latias H71. Before Serena's departure, a last call for flight Latias H71 bound for Hoenn is made over the intercom. Evidently, it is the flight that Serena will be taking. And as the Japanese fandom quickly pointed out way back in 2016, the name of Serena's flight was probably not a coincidence. But I'll just lay out the facts and interpretations for you and you can make your own call. Firstly, just to provide some relevant background information, back in Pokemon Heroes, Ash received a kiss from a girl who was either Bianca or Latias in disguise. And while Ash had received pecks on the cheek from, well, Jesse and James, gross, and another peck from that horndog Melanie in the second movie, the Bianca or Latias kiss was the first kiss with an emotional charge to it, and many viewers saw the Latias flight name as an allusion to that kiss. In other words, Latias equals kiss. Furthermore, if H stands for Hoenn as it seems to, then one could surmise that H71 may be a reference to the 71st Pokemon in the Hoenn Pokédex, Mawile, or Kuchito in Japanese. Kuchito seems to be a portmanteau of the words kuchi, mouth, and eat, with some Japanese viewers suggesting that in this case it may also mean kuchi and to, mouth, and with or and, which together with the word Latias could be a message from the staff that reads something like this: a kiss with the mouth. From Serena. My oh my. I think that is a fairly convincing interpretation, but I'm curious to hear your thoughts. And with that, let's move on to the second Easter egg that fans often connect to the Serena and Ash romance and kiss. I am talking about Tetsuo Yajima's swan song symbol as the director of the Pokemon anime, a secret message hidden in the final moments of the final episode of Pokemon X, Y, and Z. Does this message actually have something to do with Serena, or has it simply been misinterpreted? Let's talk about it. To commemorate the conclusion of the Pokémon X, Y, and Z anime, Tetsuo Yajima went to Twitter and posted this. Yesterday, we smoothly reached the final episode of Pokémon X, Y, and Z. I feel like there were many things I couldn't achieve in my first directorial work, but I'm deeply grateful to all of the staff who were involved in making this. In the final shot, there's a message from me to the staff and the viewers. Please look for it. Many viewers did just that, pointing out that the message must be hidden in the flowers outside of Ash's house when he returns to Pallet Town on account of Yajima's love for symbolic flower language. Whether it be Esper's Windflower, Corina's Lily of the Valley, Jessie's Marguerites, or even the flower power names in The Power of Us. Yajima loves to play with the meanings of flowers and was quick to confirm viewers' suspicions. Thanks for all the replies. It seems that there are people who found the message. Yes, my message is contained in the language of flowers. This is where things get interesting, as the flowers outside of Ash's house are known in Japanese as kasumiso, which you could literally translate as mist grass, otherwise known in English as baby's breath. And while baby's breath has many symbolic meanings attached to it, when I look at fan discussions of this scene online, I tend to see people referring to the symbolism that is prevalent in Western cultures, when in this case it is likely more telling to look at what the flowers mean in Japan. So here are 3 popular interpretations of the baby's breath in Pallet Town in Japan, the last of the 3 being the one with the most weight behind it. One meaning of the flower language attributed to Kasumiso is that of innocent love, or simply innocence. So could this refer to an innocent, youthful romance that will unfold between Ash and Serena? It's quite possible given that the homecoming scene came soon after their kiss. And if we pair this with Baby Breath's everlasting love symbolism in the West, then wow, we are getting pretty heavy-handed here. Furthermore, in Japan and various other regions around the world, Baby's Breath is strongly connected with weddings. And the original function of Kasumiso in bouquets was to devote itself to enhancing the beauty of other flowers, which could be interpreted as a metaphor for Serena's devotion to Ash. Another interpretation I've seen online is that Kasumiso could be a reference to Kasumi, Misty's Japanese name, which could turn this into a suggestion that Ash is actually returning home to Misty after his time with Serena. This isn't flower language per se, but the flower and the name do share the same mist root. So is Yajima's secret message actually just a cheeky mudslap to the hopes and dreams of Amore shippers? Fans of an Ash and Misty pairing may suggest so, but probably not, given Mr. Yajima's aforementioned explanation that we could expect that Ash and Serena may enter a romantic relationship together in the future, and especially because, well, he actually confirmed his intentions regarding the secret message in that same interview as follows. In an Animage article, it was said that there is a message from you contained in the final episode, but what kind of message is it? I made a swath of Baby's Breath blossom in front of Ash's house. Baby's Breath means gratitude, and this indicates my gratitude towards the viewers of the show. So while the Serena-related connotations of the Baby's Breath are interesting to consider, it seems more likely that Yajima simply wanted to thank his fans for their support. Then again, perhaps injecting a degree of ambiguity into the message actually was intentional. Personally, I would probably side with the gratitude interpretation on this one, but I think that the leeway for multiple interpretations of scenes like this, as well as Serena's earlier words in Japanese to Ash on the escalator, are what make these discussions worth having. In conclusion, the romantic subplot of XY was the real deal, and while the uncensored kiss scene is a myth, Ash and Serena's censored but confirmed kiss was also the real deal. Of course, the Easter eggs in the episode are open to interpretation, but I hope that the snippets from Mr. Yajima's interview with Mr. Oguro do paint a clearer picture of the truth about their kiss and the intentions behind it. Personally, I thought this was one of the anime's great moments. As a fan of the anime since I was in elementary school, I watched several of my other heroes grow up, fall in love, and mature both physically and mentally. But by comparison, Ash has always remained trapped in limbo, outside of his increasing stack of Pokemon catches and league achievements. And this would become a bit jarring as I myself matured over the years but continued watching the show. And thus, when I tuned into the XY anime and saw him more mature than ever before, and wrapped up in a romantic subplot to boot, when that romantic subplot came to a climax with a big old wet lip attack, it seemed like Ash was tracking to become much more relatable once again. And even if Serena's romantic affections were more or less one-sided at this point, it showed that Pokemon was growing up, and that was very exciting in itself. But of course, Ash is trapped by the company's needs for a perpetual hero, and I do see the value of the floating timeline approach in other ways, so in all likelihood, his adult life and the romance that tends to accompany adult life may never come to fruition within the anime itself. And I don't know if that is a good thing or a bad thing, but the fact that it has inspired fans to generate so much discussion, so much fan fiction and fan art and more, that is also something very special in itself. But how about you? What did you think of the Ash and Serena kiss? Was it a good move for the series or a bad one? And who do you see Ash settling down with when he finally grows up? I'm curious what you think, and as always, let's chat.